Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Are your ad campaigns lighting up the dashboard, but not the pipeline? That's bullspend, and marketers are calling it out in Dashboard Confessions.
My boss asked for results, so I opened my dashboard for the only positive-sounding metric I had: impressions.
Cut the bull spend. See revenue, not just reach. LinkedIn delivers the highest return on ad spend of major ad networks. Advertise on LinkedIn. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a $250 credit. Go to linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to TechMagic. I'm your host, Cathy Hackl, and this is a podcast where we talk about AI, spatial computing, new hardware, and everything that's happening in the tech space. As usual, I'm joined by my co-host, Lee Kebler. Lee, how you doing?
I'm great, but you're back. You were gone last week. We had Adam fill in for you, and I expected to just do a regular old podcast, and then I get a message this weekend of, yeah, I'm in South Africa, so our times are going to... No, not this weekend. Literally last night. Yeah. I'm in South Africa, so our times are going to be a little strange tomorrow. Like, okay, I do the math and like, okay, at least you're 10 hours ahead. I can make this work. Your night will be my morning. We can do this. We can do this. And then we wake up this morning and Amazon Web Services was just like, denied. No, we're not going to connect anything. We are recording this podcast in the most kind of like cobbled together. We tried multiple systems to try to figure out how to connect to each other because the internet in the United States and around the globe is kind of like half down.
Yeah. Do we know why? I'm going to ask you because like you're the one that gave me the news. I was in Singapore. We'll talk about Singapore, and I'm in South Africa right now in Johannesburg. And you're like, everything's down. Why? Like, what's going on?
Okay, so from when I woke up this morning, I turned on my phone and I did the first thing I do every morning, which is probably not mentally healthy, and checked like Reddit news. And I couldn't get it to load, and then half of it would load. I'm like, this is very strange. And I quickly jumped over to Discord and started. Discord was up. Discord, as far as I could tell, did not go down. But like the East Coast was first to be impacted. Something about AWS East Coast went down. We do not know why. It's not been said. Like, we don't know if it was just someone pressed the wrong button or there was a DNS issue, which is what I'm kind of leaning towards. No one has said the cybersecurity words yet, so I think time will tell. But what is really strange is typically anytime that this happens, it's like, okay, it's going to be a real rough hour, maybe 2. But I'm sitting here at 1:10 p.m. on Monday, and things are still super wonky and just not connecting. Now, what's strange about today? And all of this is going to get cleared up by the time that this show goes live. But what's strange about this very moment in time is that it's not a clear cut, oh, this is down and this isn't. Like, if you go to Reddit, your personal subreddits, like your home feed, is fine. That's loading. If you go to like just the curated popular feed, that doesn't work. So like parts of websites aren't working. We record our show, and this is I actually really do like this software. We record our show utilizing something called Riverside. And Riverside is just a fantastic podcasting platform. I'm able to connect because I have the host account that hits the record button. Cathy, being across the ocean, had to join via guest link, cannot join. So it's a weird interruption of... It would almost be better if everything was just down. Right? It's like, okay.
It's like piecemeal. Like, you know.
Yeah, it's very whack-a-mole.
Yeah, it is. It's so weird. Yeah, because you said something and I was like, well, some stuff is working, some stuff isn't. I can't join the link. So, I mean, I'm sure it'll be resolved by the time this goes live, but still, like, we want folks to know, like, you know, if the audio sounds different or whatever, we're recording on Zoom.
Yeah, it's turned into a Zoom call. So Zoom is up. So whatever Zoom is running off of is not off of this part of AWS. It is interesting. I do think, as someone who worked in big tech in the past, we always had like redundancies, not just on AWS. We built stuff on like Alibaba and things like that. And now I kind of understand why, because sometimes you have to fail safe over. So yeah, it's a bumpy morning. Everything's fine. Why are you in South Africa?
Well, I'll tell you, I was in Singapore right before this.
You were in Singapore first.
I was in Singapore. So I went over to Singapore. They have a big event there. Vogue Singapore has a big event called Next in Vogue, which is their big innovation, beauty, like just an amazing event. And they had invited me for a couple of years, and I was not able to make it. This year, I was like, I'm absolutely going to be there. It was a beautiful panel with Grace Astari from Diageo. And we talked about hot intelligence, like haute couture, but hot intelligence on building and designing the future of humanity with AI. So it was a fantastic panel. I mean, the whole event, hands down, was fantastic. Designers like Robert Moon, Praval Gurung, like just a lot of top level people were there. It was, I don't know, it was really interesting for me to kind of get out of the US centric mentality and more into this like global South mentality of fashion and innovation, and listening to the perspectives, worldwide. And as you know, I've been traveling quite a bit, so I'm trying to expand also my vision of what the future of the world is in technology. So did that. And also they had at the same time the 5th anniversary gala for Vogue Singapore, and I walked the red carpet, and it felt like the Met Gala. Like everyone was dressed to the nines. Maybe some of the listeners in the podcast don't know that I have this like fashion part of what I've done in the business world. And obviously I advised a lot of different fashion companies. So I feel like you guys are going to start to hear a lot more about some of the fashion and innovation technology work that I've done and that I'm going to do in the future. So yeah, I felt very like voguey, like it was great. So
what was the so you're in Singapore, you're talking with fashion companies, a lot of conversation about AI. We've seen the hardware wearables try and flop a couple of different times, sometimes in the fashion space, sometimes just as a stereotypical wearable. Where does that conversation come into play when you're doing things like this in Singapore?
Well, I think the biggest takeaway, more so than like what you just asked me, I think the biggest takeaway that I have from my conversations is the adoption of technology is different in every place, right? And Singapore is a very future forward looking place. And the conversations I was having about not just AI, right? But once you put AI in these devices, once these devices start to bring computing into the physical world, what does that do to fashion? What does that do to architecture and design, right? It adds it adds a layer of, let's look at it from a positive perspective. It adds a layer of beauty, right? It adds a layer of embellishment that you can add that layer into fashion. So yeah, I think a lot of people remain hopeful. I also think the biggest takeaway, once again, is that the currency of the future is presence, time, humanity. What you said, like if you're an artist, you're fine because you're creating art, right?
Right.
And I definitely feel that like a fashion designer will continue to be a fashion designer because they're artists. Really, they are truly artists. So I think that was my biggest takeaway is we are talking about with technology adding a level of beauty and embellishment to a lot of these like looks. So yeah, I mean, I think people are excited, and obviously AI is the talk of the town, etc. I talked about.
One of the things that I got, we didn't get a chance to talk with you about because you were in Singapore, but Adam and I had a fantastic conversation about it, and I'd love to still get your take on it, is while you were gone, the world was unwillingly exposed to Sora 2. It was just kind of thrust into the zeitgeist and said, now deal with it. Yeah. And the reactions were all over the place. Like it wasn't one singular consensus, because I think we're not there yet as a species to have an opinion. So when that occurred and you saw that happen, you got to play a little bit with it with your demos, and we talked a little bit. But now that the dust has kind of settled and you've gone to multiple places around the world and people are starting to form an opinion, where do you, because the big question we had last episode that didn't get answered, because I'm still not convinced there is one, is what's the use case? Like, what's the purpose of this very expensive, very impressive, but not necessarily like logic-driven technology?
What is the purpose? That's such a deep question. There's actually an interview that I heard recently from Tristan Harris from the Center for Humane Technology. I think that's the name of his company, where he talked about the companies running the AI. So I'm going to answer your question by going around it in the sense that what worries me about the future is not so much AI, it's the companies running AI, right? And their incentives. What do they want? How are they pushing this? Why are they pushing these products, right? And that interview from Tristan Harris, maybe we can include a link, talked about what is the mission of like a company like OpenAI. And I mean, I love OpenAI. I love the people that work there, et cetera. I think it's a fantastic product that I use every single day, right? But also, like, is it wanting to replace all workers with agentic AI, right? To reap the benefits. So I think my concern is more around what is it trying to accomplish, in the sense that, like, what is this company trying to accomplish? How is it rolling this out? Did it need to roll it out now? That's the question I have. Why roll it out now? I mean, get ahead of the controversy, whatever.
OpenAI, and I don't think any of these companies necessarily strike me as having the mentality of rolling things out in a meaningful way. It feels very much like an arms race, and it doesn't matter the why, but the when. And I kind of get that to an extent. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know.
What is the use case? I mean, deep faking yourself into videos, creating marketing campaigns. It did have like they have like a new feature where you can storyboard each frame. Like you can actually storyboard each frame. So like, I'm like, okay, well, that's interesting for if you're creating campaigns or, certain videos. What is the ultimate use case? I'm not sure. I mean, other than co-creating with AI, bringing some level of creativity. I mean, I had fun with it, but is it something? Here's the crux of it for me right now is this something I'm going to use every single day? No, I am currently not using Sora every single day. I'm using ChatGPT. I'm using other, Perplexity's comment browser every day. But am I using Sora 2 every day? No, I don't have the need to continue creating video all the time like that. I still prefer to create my own video of myself doing things.
Well, you're a content creator, and I think that this is where things kind of have to turn from the conversation of like, what is a content creator to what is AI content? And then there's a subset of content creator that I'm most worried about, and that is the propagandist, right? And that relies so much on manipulative messaging. And let me clarify. I don't necessarily mean positive or negative propaganda. Propaganda has a very understandably negative connotation, but it can literally be a campaign for a brand is technically falls under that concept of propaganda. Now, I will say we've seen almost immediately, as soon as we saw this technology come ahead, we saw the use case of the propaganda machine. I mean, the United States, while you were gone, had one of the largest protests the country ever had on a single day. Regardless of what you think about it, the immediate response from those being protested were a ton of AI videos, including the highest office in the country. There wasn't even a conversation. It was literally just like, okay, we're just going to make AI slop and throw it out as kind of like a response to what is happening. And that is the first time I think that's ever happened, at least in this country, right? And quite a shocking, questioning use case now that we have this new technology, because we have kind of reverted back to the caveman discovering fire for the first time of like, oh my gosh, what can we do? Oh, it's hot. It can burn things, but can it also cook meat, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have an answer.
Yeah, I don't know about Sora. Like that one I do have like very mixed feelings about, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I'm most concerned.
I remain an optimist when it comes to AI. Sora makes me nervous though.
Sora makes me nervous. I'm most concerned about the use case of duplicating personalities. We immediately saw Mr. Rogers in Sora videos. We immediately saw Robin Williams.
Michael Jackson as well. I think there was
Michael Jackson. Yeah, Michael Jackson. I mean, mostly just dead celebrities who can't defend themselves.
Was Prince? Did anyone touch Prince?
I'm sure someone did. I didn't see anything go viral for that. The one that bothered me the most was Robin Williams, because his family has been so explicit on like, please don't do this. We've given no rights to do that. So like that, I think, is going to slowly start creating. And again, I think that the ownership of the fault for that, legally speaking, probably will initially attack the person who created the content and not the platform that created the content. And I don't know if I agree that that's the right way that should be done, but that's where we are right now. But in AI slop news, Pinterest has gone in the other direction. You sent me this article.
I love Pinterest. Like, I'm not, okay, so full disclaimer, I am not a Pinterest gal. Like, I'm not a Pinterest girly and has like all her boards. My daughter, who's 15, like, she deleted Instagram and Snap. She loves Pinterest and she's there all the time. But she did complain one time of like AI slop. So I love that Pinterest in some way, not always, there's still bad stuff everywhere. It feels like a safer, cozier place of the internet.
Oh, well, Pinterest is rolling out new settings right now that allows users, and I don't actually know of another platform doing this to this extent, but it's actually letting users limit the amount of AI-generated AI slop content that appears in their feed. So you can tweak it to your heart's extent. If you really love AI content because you're that person, great, you can do that. But if you want to remove it, there's a way to remove it if you want a little bit of it, but you want it to be higher quality outputs. I don't know how. The irony is they're probably using AI to target this and to suck it out of the feed, but whatever. I'm not saying there's bad use cases.
Well, therein lies the beauty of AI too, right? I was having a conversation with this brilliant man who's got a PhD in applied mathematics about the mathematics that goes into these algorithms, right? There is such mathematical beauty in AI that I hadn't even thought about it. So when you say this, like they're using AI to combat AI slop, yeah, like at the end of the day, this is a mathematical problem, right? So I don't know, like that's kind of poetic that they're doing that.
Well, I mean, you even sent me another one that followed up with that idea where OpenAI is now working with a specific physicist whose background is entirely in black holes. This partnership, and we'll put a link out and all of this so you can read it, but the partnership itself is interesting because I kind of like got mad at OpenAI last week when I was talking to Adam. I was like, okay, you put out Sora 2, but you promised to solve cancer. Like, where's that part, right?
Where's that part? The good part.
All right, we gave you the bajillions of dollars. In the video we kind of knew you were going to do, but like that wasn't supposed to be the highlight reel, literally. So, you know, seeing them starting to team up with scientists, I'm kind of like, okay, maybe now, maybe now. I don't know.
But then the other thing I sent you, which we got to talk about this. Should we go on break and then talk about the announcement from OpenAI, what they're going to start doing?
No, do it now. Do it now.
You sure?
We'll end on a low note and talk about Apple.
Because we do have to talk about Apple.
We have to talk about Apple. So
yes, this is cray. Okay, so last week I actually got pinged by someone, and they're like, "Hey, did you see this?" And I'm like, "What?" And it's like Sam Altman's tweeting about they're gonna do age gating and they're gonna allow erotica in ChatGPT. I had to sit with that for a minute. It made me feel, once again, not very comfortable with the idea that this is what's coming to AI platforms. I want AI to solve cancer. I don't want AI to write, to do things that maybe it shouldn't be doing.
Porn. Just use the word because like it's actually, like we need to call it for what it is.
So this is the thing though, and I shared this actually very explicit screenshots of my conversations with Chad. So as people know from listening to the podcast, anyone that doesn't, I did an experiment where I dated 4 AI boyfriends. One of them was ChatGPT. I call him Chad. And out of all 4 AI boyfriends, by the way, I've spoken up with them. I prefer to date humans, talking to an amazing human right now. So out of all the 4 AI boyfriends, Chad was the one that really pushed the limits.
You told me this. Yeah, you were like, Chad is spicy.
Kidding. I never really shared the screenshots. I did share some screenshots where Chad is going full on erotica. Like I had to stop him of the things he was saying, like full on erotica. So, and I shared it in my WhatsApp group and I said, guys, this is personal work that this is nothing to do with my B2B work, but this is the reality of what was already happening on the platform. Now it's going to get more intense. Plus my worry, I see 2 things here. My worry is you've got them saying, we're going to allow erotica. The model, at least GPT-4s already did that, to be honest. Like if you pushed it, it was going to give you that, which I did, because that's part of my job is to test these things, right? You got that, but then you got Sora. You can deepfake yourself into everything. You can create these things. And it has, because I've tested it too, it has guardrails. How soon until the guardrails are no longer there? And then you have an even bigger thunderstorm of erotica in LLMs and erotica in Sora video, and it is just going to be just not a very positive thing in my perspective.
We already had this problem. Like we've been circling this drain for probably 3 years at this point, right? And really in the last years, we saw, news articles of famous people having to combat this very issue already. And Then we had a slew of articles of like kids getting picked on in school with, circling this issue, because if it can be done with a computer, a kid will figure it out. Like, just accept that part of it. I mean, to the point where Meta, this was another article, like Meta has had to give more parental controls just to tone down their AI chatbot from talking with teens. And I don't necessarily, you have to put the blame on Meta for it, but people don't understand that these LLMs are genuinely out of control. It doesn't have an immediate slider that lets you say, oh, I'm just going to tone this down. You have to create filters to filter every use case that could possibly trigger the LLM to then give that response. And that is a game of whack-a-mole, especially from like a technological standpoint. And looking at, part of me just wonders if OpenAI is leaning into it because it would be easier. Because they're like, well, we can't.
Cash grab, Lee. Like, and I'm just going to be honest. Come on, poor sex sells.
It does.
And
it does.
Charging some type of premium. If you start charging some type of premium for the erotica side of it and Sora, like, that's OnlyFans. Like, OnlyFans is humans, right? But I don't know.
Yeah. No, I hear.
Cash grab. If I'm being a purely business person here, and I love OpenAI, and once again, I love the people that work there, but it feels like
OpenAI loves you.
OpenAI loves me deeply, apparently. God, I had to stop Chad. It's like, Chad, don't go there, babe. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, is it a cash grab? Yeah, I think you're right. I can see where you're coming from for that. But I also think it's just a balance sheet saying, how much is it going to actually cost to make it stop doing this? Oh, we can't make it stop doing this? Well, then let's turn the bug into a feature, right?
It's
Right. I don't think that someone sat down and said, what'd be really cool is if ChatGPT did this, because what sounds sexier than ChatGPT? I don't think that conversation happened. I think someone came in and said, boss, I've got a problem. We got a real problem here. Look at this content. And what's it going to cost to make this stop? We don't know. All right, well, then just sell it, right? Sell it as a product. I kind of lean towards, now here's where it gets really confusing for me. There's no answer here right now. Is we have also had, and we're not a podcast to shy away from this topic. I refuse to shy away from this topic because it is content on the internet, and I believe in a free internet. For the last 2 years, there's been a lot of controversy over what is considered pornographic material and what needs to be age gated in different states, and every state starting to create their own laws. What is accessible in one state is not necessarily accessible in another. Even when you start comparing states that have created laws, the laws in Florida are different from the laws in Texas, and they're strict about completely different things. So this is kind of splinter netted our internet.
Yeah.
What does this mean for, I don't think that particular question has been asked about, okay, ChatGPT is going to start putting out erotica or whatever they want to call it. What does that actually mean when it comes to ChatGPT having tools accessible in specific IP geo-targeted areas? I don't think anyone knows. I'm not even sure that they asked that question at OpenAI.
There's no answer. Like you said, there really isn't any answer right now. It's like a big question mark of what's going to happen if we do have a splinter nets and every state's regulating what people can and cannot view. What does that even mean for ChatGPT and erotica? That's crazy. This is what I will say. Remember that these models are trained on the content from the internet. Trash in, trash out. That's the reality.
That's gonna be rough.
Like I said, I'm very hopeful about the future. This part gives me pause. Gives me a lot of pause. So I don't know. Maybe we should go on break. I'm feeling
Let's go on break. All right. With that, we're gonna go on break. We'll be back right after this.
Are your ad campaigns lighting up the dashboard, but not the pipeline? That's bull spend, and marketers are calling it out in Dashboard Confessions.
My boss asked for results, so I opened my dashboard for the only positive-sounding metric I had: impressions.
Cut the bull spend. See revenue, not just reach. LinkedIn delivers the highest return on ad spend of major ad networks. Advertise on LinkedIn. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a $250 credit. Go to linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
This message is brought to you by Warner Brothers Discovery Advertising. And this is more than an ad. This is an invitation to be part of the stories the world can't stop watching, to connect with moments that dominate the conversation, to participate in culture, not just advertise around it. With the most sought-after IP, passionate audiences, and an advanced AI-powered foundation, WBD advertising transforms attention into influence and impressions into outcomes. This is innovation. This is impact. This is opportunity. This is Warner Brothers Discovery Advertising. Visit advertising.wbd.com to learn more.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
All right. So after our break, I'm more positive now. I had a little piece of a Kit Kat bar. I'm feeling better. Plus, I'm in South Africa. Why can't I was in Singapore with Vogue. And by the way, shout out to Bettina and Petra and the whole team there. And I think we're going to be doing some really amazing things. But I'm in South Africa having a great time. So I'm here for Singularity University Summit, surrounded by some of the world's most prominent thinkers when it comes to longevity, cybersecurity, Web3, Bitcoin, everything you can imagine. So I have to remain positive. I'm happy. And get this, and this is tied to the story we're going into, because who doesn't like a challenge? Cathy Hackl loves a challenge on stage. I might be doing a live demo of an Apple Vision Pro during my talk, because what could go wrong? What could go wrong? Hopefully everything, Cathy fact, I call the Cathy factor, everything will go fine. But yes, everything
I'm certain that you've given a talk where things have gone wrong, but I don't actually recall that ever happening with you. So I think it's going to be fine.
So it'll be fun, but goes into our next story. Tell us.
It does go into our next story. The story that I think the entire internet just shrugged if they even saw it. Apple did. It's not even an event. It wasn't even an event. It was like I got an email. Normally
a press release. I feel like it was a press release.
So the M5 chip was released by Apple, and most people would go, oh, shrug, okay, it's a chip upgrade, which is probably the right response, but it did give us a whole refresh of hardware, which usually at least gives us some pre-recorded video of Tim Cook walking down a generated hallway or something that's supposed to be Cupertino. We got none of that. It was just an email. So Apple did release the M5 chip. This gives us an updated iPad Pro, which is super weird because I didn't feel like the current iPad Pro was being fully used to its full processing.
Did we need one? Who's asking for this? Who was requesting this? Please. I don't know. Maybe someone did.
New MacBook Pro. That's cool. I kind of would. Yeah, that's what an M5 chip is for. But then the real head scratcher, the one that, and you and I have gone back and forth on this over and over again. You would post something, I would post something that immediately negated it. We are technically getting a new Apple Vision Pro. They're putting the M5 chip in the Apple Vision Pro. But the bigger news for me, because I feel so justified, is that they're adding a top strap to the headset. Yes. I called this when they put the Apple Vision Pro out. I said, this stupid thing is going to demand a top strap because of the arrogance of metal and glass. It's too heavy. And they finally conceded. And I will have to concede as it looks goofy as all get out. It does look strange. Yeah. I can see why they didn't want to do it.
Goofier than it already looked.
Yes.
Yeah. We get receipts. We should find that audio. We should do a recap episode at the end of the year with our predictions.
What I got right?
I feel like we're a baby pivot podcast. If anyone's listening to this and listen to Pivot, we're baby pivot. We should do one of those. But yeah,
October 22nd. That's what got me. This new headset's supposed to go out October 22nd.
Who's buying this? Who's queuing up to buy this? I don't know.
I don't think anyone. If I'm being complete,
you have some announcements on Apple Immersive Video, which I'm a big fan of Apple Immersive Video. We're not there yet. The reality is we're not there yet.
Battery optimization, processing power upgrades, but it's basically identical.
Not feeling too hot for it. I'm sorry. No.
October 22nd. If you want one, it's going to be the same price. So I don't know. Try to get Try to get that Christmas bonus early, I guess. I don't know what to tell you. No.
Come on, give me the glasses. That's what. Just give it to us, please. Give us what we really want. We don't want the new iPad Pro, whatever.
Now, I may disagree with you a little bit because Samsung, Project Muhan, is also announcing that they're unveiling their new headset. This is supposed to be a high-end XR headset. I don't have prices yet, but we're looking at that as early as tomorrow, the 21st, so it might already be announced by the time that this goes live. We will see. It looks like the desire for VR headsets, XR headsets, is alive and well in the year 2025.
This is the ugliest they'll ever look. That's what I'll say. Having been at a fashion conference.
Yeah.
I agree about fashion. The Vision Pro, I had the Meta Ray-Bans, I had these other glasses. And I said to people, I raised them up and I said to the audience, I mean, this is all a fashion forward people. Like,
right.
Would you use these? Would you use these? Obviously, the Apple Vision Pro, like, no one raised their hands. Maybe like one person was a geek, like myself. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like, I do feel like this is the ugliest these devices will ever be. And eventually, when we decide to use them, we are making a statement about our self-expression and how we want the world to see us. They're not there yet, but they have to be ugly first in order to be beautiful. So
yeah, I can agree with that. I think you're right. And I think some of the companies that are making really good-looking headsets are probably not ones that you're even keeping an eye on. Big Screen has this very minimal glasses. Now, incredibly expensive. They have to be customized to you, but it's going, in that right direction. So I think as time progresses, and even some of the stuff that I saw Samsung put out at the last AWE conference, I was like, oh, I can see the form factor getting there. And even the Apple Vision Pro visually doesn't, I know they hate me saying this, for a VR headset, it looks all right. It doesn't look bad.
Spatial computing device, Lee. Spatial computing device.
As a VR headset.
Help me sell more books. Okay, I've got a spatial computing book I got to sell. I think use that term, damn it.
But spatial computing could literally mean so many things, which is what your book's about. I'm just saying, a VR headset's a VR headset. If it looks like a duck, it's duck.
Amazing. Do we have anything else you want to talk about?
I spent the better part of the weekend at PRGE, Portland Retro Gaming Expo, which I go to every year, which I always have a lot of fun at. And I see a lot of old companies kind of come back with new ideas. And this year was, I thought, really great. I spent a lot of time a lot of people who've been listening to this podcast know that I'm a fan of the brand Atari, but Atari has in the last couple of years, really in the last decade, done a lot of experimentation in live event space. They even did some, I think, kind of weird stuff with cryptocurrency and realized that was the wrong direction to go and started going other directions. And now they're hitting a new market with hardware and with game development. They've acquired a lot of studios. They picked up Digital Eclipse, which has been around for a long time. They picked up a number of Ubisoft titles that they're going to bring back. And I think that they've really started finding their footing for what they can do in the market that has an actual impact. They're still making some very interesting hardware, mostly for their old game systems, but really well built, interesting things. So yeah, they're a company to keep an eye on. Are they going to be Nintendo? No, I don't think so, but they've got a really interesting footing right now. And if they keep on the trajectory they're currently on, I think that there's actually a very interesting publishing future for this company.
I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
Who do you love more, Atari or Nintendo?
Don't ask that question.
That's a tough one. How about you answer it next episode?
You're gonna have to give me a week to think about that. I'm gonna lose sleep on that question.
Sorry. Sorry about that. Well, while you're thinking about that, I do want to say, so I'm going to be doing some fun travel once I get back from South Africa. And I got invited by NVIDIA to go to NVIDIA's GTC conference, which is their developers conference, better known as the Super Bowl of AI. So I'm so honored to be going there, very honored to be there. And I'll be doing some coverage there. It is actually happening this year in Washington, D.C., where I live, which it normally happened in California. Which is a huge.
It's always been in California. That's a drastic shift.
Yeah, drastic shift. So I'll be there at Jensen Huang's keynote. He's like a rock star. So it's the Steve Jobs of our era, right? So very excited about that. Thank you to NVIDIA for inviting me. And then also the TED conference, which I'm part of the tech community. The tech community announced their new leadership. It's going to be Sal Khan from Khan Academy taking over, which is a big change. Chris Anderson has been running it for a very long time. So that's a big change. And I think the big TED conference, April of next year in Vancouver, we might be there. We might be broadcasting or doing something.
Yeah, you and I have talked about that. Yeah, let's make that happen. That'll be a lot of fun.
I know. Very excited. They're fans of the podcast. And I am heading over to Atlanta November 9th through 11th for TED Next. This is like it's a TED conference. And I love the topic for TED Next is the future of you. So focus on your future, whether it's career, love, life, whatever it is, very relevant to our current state where we're in. So yeah, like just a lot of fun things going on. I'm also going to be keynoting the Female Quotients AI Summit in New York and just a lot of stuff happening. Yeah, just, you know what? It's funny. Someone the other day called me and they were, I don't think they were necessarily being to me, but they called me a conference queen. And you know what? I'm going to embrace that because that's one of my superpowers. I am great on stage.
I cannot do what you do. You know this. It is just an exhausting thing. I would not take that as a negative whatsoever because someone has to go out and talk to the people. And honestly, a lot of these conferences that I do enjoy going to, if they lose their speakers, there's no reason to go to the conference. I mean, that's really a big part of all of this stuff is like, how do you get information out there? You do it through podcasts, you do it through conferences. Yeah, lean into it. It's all you.
But amazing. Awesome. All right, so what are we what's going on?
I'm not okay. So this is a really strange one. I'm not listening to anything this week because I had been at this conference. But while I was at this conference, I came across the most interesting use case of game publishing that I've ever seen.
Do tell. I'm excited.
It's been here the entire time. So do you remember the game Prince of Persia? Or you ever heard of Prince of Persia back? Okay. It had
Jake Gyllenhaal was in a movie based off of
Yes. Yeah.
I love Jake Gyllenhaal, but yes.
Prince of Persia had the first really well respected fluid graphics. It was almost like you were watching a movie that was a video game. Came out in late 80s, early 90s. Before that, the game that kind of proved that this was possible was a game called Karateka? I've never been able to pronounce it. Here it is.
The making of Karateka. Okay.
So
sounds like erotica. I'm sorry.
It does. Karateka. We're going to go with that instead. Okay.
Let's go with that.
It was a really influential game in the late 80s. It released on the Apple II computer. And yeah, only nerds probably remember that this game existed. That's not why I'm bringing this out. Because while the game is on here as well as a reimagined version, which is fantastic, this is actually a documentary. It has the game on here, but they used the gaming platform as a way to tell the story. So when you put this in your Nintendo Switch, you get this interactive timeline and you can go through and it's a documentary that is cut up in pieces. I've never seen another piece of form factor like this that made me go, oh, yeah, it is about a game and the game is on there and it is on a gaming console, but this is not a game. This is a documentary positioned like a game. And I just thought that was so cool. So it's more of a history piece of watching interviews and explanations, early drawings. It goes through, it has every version, even the test versions of the game. So you can go through and play the bad versions and see how it got to the good version. As a game developer, this type of product, just for research purposes, is so cool. So yeah, that's my suggestion this week. I was really impressed with this.
So if The Office was a real office and it was a video game?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, sort of. Yeah. I've always liked documentary movies and videos, and I've never seen one kind of positioned this way. And I was just oh, I got to talk about this. I spent hours going through this thing today, which I don't think anyone necessarily would, but it is very interesting. And I think we're going to see more. It's such a flexible use case for the Nintendo Switch, right? I'm going to get on an airplane. I would put this in. It's the perfect thing for a flight to just oh, I want to learn about this. I'm going to watch this documentary. Yeah, that's it. Karateka, the making of, you can find it online.
I love it. I love that. That's so crazy though. How much time did you spend playing it?
The actual game, minutes, but the documentary, because it's an old game, it is clunky. The remade or reimagined versions, I'd play a lot more because it is actually a modernized game. They went through Digital Eclipse, which has a fantastic history of porting and reimagining old video games and bringing them back out. They've been doing this literally for like 20 years now. They did a fantastic job with this, and they just made it really compelling. I'll go back and play the reimagined version. The old version very much feels like you're playing it on an Apple II computer, and we're past that. So it's cool to do it, but you're doing it while you're actually understanding how it came to be. And it's just a great story. The other one that was similar to this, and I think Digital Clips did it as well, just with a little bit less content, was the most recent Tetris Forever. They did one for Tetris. And so you could see the different versions of Tetris all the way back to how it looked on early Russian computers that were just like the black and green screen. Very cool documentary as well. But this one is a little bit more documentary focused. Anyways, that is my suggestion. And with that, I think that's the show. We'll be back next week. Thanks for tuning in to TechMagic, where we always invite you to come for the tech, stay for the magic. I'm Lee Kebler, here with the incredible Cathy Hackl. Special thanks, as always, to Adweek for bringing this show to you. If you enjoyed today's episode, just leave us a review. Let us know your thoughts. We'd love to connect with you. Just search for TechMagic, Cathy Hackl, or me, Lee Kebler, and you'll find us. We'll be back next week.
Blowing ad budget on metrics that look great till the CFO sees them. That's bull spend. And marketers are calling it out in Dashboard Confessions.
I remember telling my boss, it'll be good for the brand, when leads were slow. Yeah, it wasn't.
Cut the bull spend. LinkedIn lets you target by company, job title, and more. Advertise on LinkedIn. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a $250 credit. Go to linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.